Welcome to Circuit Fix. An order just came in for some custom cables. Looks like we've got two antenna cables that are SMAs, 30 inches. I've got a TA3 to XLR3 audio cable, 15 inches. I've got two TA5 to XLR3 splitter cables, 15 inches. And then I've got, it looks like a 4-pin power cable, 75 inches to do XLR4s. All right, if you guys want to sit down and relax for a few minutes and watch me make some cables, today's your lucky day. Let's hop right into it. I'm going to start first with the easy one. It's the power cable. And I've cut the cable to the length that the customer asked for. And I'm just going to take my razor blade and cut into the insulation on the outside a bit. And this is power cable, so there's no shielding. It's just a little bit of hemp cord on the inside and two what looks to be about 16 gauge wires. And get that out of there. And I already broke my first rule of making XLR style cables, or any other cable for that matter. We need to put our boots on for our connectors. Let's see. Yeah, the customer wants a barrel style jack on one side and a 4-pin XLR on the other. So let's get this on first thing. And I'll get myself a little piece of shrink wrap as well. I'll come in, we're going to put the white one on pin 4. And if my soldering tip didn't suck so bad, this would go much easier. Alright, that looks good. I'm going to flip it over. And we'll get this ground soldered onto pin 1, or the negative for the battery. All right. We're going to shrink wrap up. Now we can put our spacer on. And line this up. And the easy side is complete. Now for this barrel jack, that's going to be a tight fit for this cable. Oh man, I don't even know if it'll fit. Yeah, it just does slide on. No room for shrink wrap. Let's get an estimate of exactly how much material we need to remove. I'm going to cut this off one more time. Get a flush end. And let's call it about there. I'm just going to cut off this on the inside. These need stripping. These just need a little bit of tinning. Okay, now we'll prep the connector. Now the holes in this connector are a little bit too small to be able to fit the entire wire through. So I'm just going to solder flat to the bottom of it so to make a good connection. And I'm tinning the ground. And tinning the top pad. Well, a little bit of flux to that just to make sure it gets over to the bottom side. Alright, and I'll place this on. I'll start the black to the negative side, which is the outside of the barrel jack. And that's done. And I can see the solder going into the wire. So we should have a good connection. I'm going to double check this under the microscope just to make sure. Yeah, that looks good. Should be in good shape. I'm just going to install a little bit of shrink tubing to help this stick. That's marine tubing, so it's got some glue on it, so it'll help grab. May help that from getting pulled out a little bit. Because the connector is a bit tiny for this thick cable. This doesn't really grab a hold of the cable very well the way the connector is made. I'm going to add just a drop of UV resin glue here. Just to, keep it from disconnecting at a bad moment, because this is probably a very important cable to have working. Now that I've got that done, take a little UV light and cure this for a few seconds. The glue says 5 seconds, but I don't believe that for one moment. All right, that's cured. I don't think that's in any danger of getting ripped out now. Let's see if we can close the connector up now, as tight as it is. Yeah. Now that we have our cable completed, The last thing we need to do before we ship it up to the customer is just to make sure we don't have any shorts, and make sure we have continuity to the correct pins. Pin 1 on this should be the outside of this jacket, and pin 4 should be the inside. So let's just double check for shorts first. No shorts. That's pin 1, should be on the outside. Oh no, I'm going to check the inside. Okay, see, this is why we check. So I just need to go in and swap these pins around. Somehow I missed that when we were installing it, and I don't remember where I made that mistake. This is why we check, people. I'm going to redo that end very quickly just to clean it up as a paying customer. And let's test our cable one more time for shorts and make sure our pins are correct. I've got my multimeter probe on pin 1. Now we're on the correct side. Make sure we don't have any shorts here. And pin 4 should be in the center. Okay, now we have a good cable. Moving on. It says I need to make 2 SMA RAs to BNC M 30-inch with RG174. So I've got 2 pieces of RG174 cut to 30 inches, or slightly longer. And we need SMRA, that means right angle. That's an SM right angle, and this is BNC male for that cable. So we'll start with the BNC male side. Here's how this works. We'll strip off the cable, and the shield will go outside, and the center conductor and dielectric will go in about this far, and this will crimp on to the center conductor and be pushed forward, and then we'll put this over it and crimp that closed. Right about here, the battery on my wireless mic died, but I'll attempt to do a voiceover anyway. Now normally these pins are crimped on, and that's what I do most of the time, but I wanted to try something different this time and just see if I could get it to solder on. And I've got a little solder on the conductor and a little bit of flux right there on the pin. And it looks like this does work. It's not any faster than just crimping on, but it may be a little stronger. Now I'm just going to cool it down real quick with my electric air gun. It's nice and strong. Now we'll slide it into the connector and make sure all the measurements are correct. Looks like it's pretty good. And now I'll just bend over the shielding and slide up the bushing so we can crimp it on. Now I can come in with my crimper and do the shrink wrap. And the male BNC side is complete. We can move on to the right angle SMA. This has a little screw-on cap on the back of it that protects the inside of this connector from dust and stuff in the wild. So first thing we need to do is get this off. And later on we'll solder to that center pin. On with the shrink wrap and the bushing for the crimper. And it'll sit about like this. Now we strip the coax down like normal, and I'll strip just a little bit of the dielectric off at the end of the center conductor there so we can solder it on the center pin. And I'll show you how to do that under the microscope here. We just push it in like this and try to line up the center conductor with this notch. And there it goes. Now we're lined up. And I'll put just the ever so smallest drop of flux here to help the solder flow, make a good connection. And I'll come in with a very small soldering tip and go ahead and solder this wire on. And that's definitely got it. I'm going to slide this bushing material up over the shield and get this crimped on tightly. That will definitely hold. And some more satisfying shrink wrap footage. Now, to protect this cap from falling off in the wild, I'm going to add a little bit of Loctite thread locker. And this will keep that from falling off in the future. Now I'm testing the cable for continuity on shorts, and we're in good shape. For our last set of cables, he wants 15-inch star quad, mini star quad, to go into one TA5 on one side, and then XLR males on the other side. So you get two channels out of one connector here. So what I need to do is go ahead and take our TA5 connector apart, get our bits and bobs out, and knock this section out. There's a knockout here that we can make enough room to get both of these cables through the boot. Should be able to knock it out like so. Now I'm going to strip these wires down, twist the shields together. Now I'm going to tin that just to hold it together while I work with everything else. Since this is such a short run and to save space in the connector, I'm going to do away with the striped conductors inside the star quad, so it won't really be star quad anymore. Now I need to strip these, and now they will get tinned. Now over to the microscope. On the TA5, the pinouts like this when you're looking at the connector. Pin 1 is on the left top, then pin 2, 3, 4, and pin 5 is in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and tin these and get them ready. And now we'll solder the blue wire from the first channel to pin number 2. The white wire from channel number 1 goes to pin number 3. Now the blue wire from channel 2 goes to pin number 4. And we can tack down the white wire from channel 2 to that center pin number 5, and we are done. Now we can slide up our spacer and get our clip installed. A little bit more of that sweet, sweet shrink wrap action. Okay, let's push this in, make sure it clicks, and it does. And screw our boot on. And that'll work nicely. Line it up about right there. All right, that glue's nice and hot. Let's flatten that down and make it adhere to the cables. All I've got left to do is properly solder the XLR connectors on the other side. And here we go again. And we almost forgot to put our boots on. Always put your boots on. Tinning our pins. Pin 1 ground. Pin 2 blue. Pin 3 white. Put on our spacers. Line them up with the housing. Screw them on tight. Spacer. Housing. And we screw on our boot. First off, I'm going to test pin 1. We should have ground on both of these on pin 1. We do. No shorts there. Good. No shorts. Pin 2 should be on one of these. There we are. Pin 3 should be here. Good. Pin 4. Good. And pin 5. No shorts. We've got another good cable. So that's finished, and I've gone and completed one more just like it. That completes the lineup of our cable order today. Thanks for hanging in there, and I'll see you next time. Circuit fixed.